So it's the day after my 30th birthday, and I decided I wanted to come up north to the Lake District because, I mean, it's relatively close and it's got some kind of wild places. I'm being pessimistic again, I'm sorry. But I've just finished driving to wild Ennerdale, and as you can hear and see, it's very wet. And I'm going to brave the wilderness. I hope I see something interesting, because this has pretty good reviews. But are they reviews from someone with an eye of an ecologist? Before I even get out, there is a beauty in seeing the wind blow the rain sideways. You can see a decent amount of trees here, not too bad, but any of those pines that you see, they're not native. At least they don't look it from here. So, if you're a person who enjoys the outdoors, but you're trapped in the UK, waterproofs are a must. Everything I am wearing is waterproof, except the clothes underneath. God, I look so adorable. I ford the great rivers. It looks nice. For now. Some wild cherry, lovely. Some bracken, apples, not native, but you know, not doing any harm. There is the lake, Ennerdale. Them waters, they seem a little turbulent, but not too bad. You can see the water running off the higher elevations. Now, a lot of the runoff is going to be carrying soils with it and nutrients from higher up, which is it's not 100% good, because normally without human intervention these uplands would have been filled with trees, which would have slowed the runoff of water and led to lower levels of flooding and runoff. But today, there is a fraction of tree cover that remains. My mama said to bring the jacket so I don't get wet. My mama said to bring the. Mama said it's gonna rain. My mama right. You can see that the lake has kind of burst its banks a bit into this area, which is fine. It's natural. The UK, regardless of how much vegetation is intact, flooding will occur on the floodplains. And that's what they're for. And these spaces are usually dominated by certain types of vegetation that are very water tolerant. Here, I'm pretty sure I'm under the boughs of, maybe this is Scott's pine, I'm not 100% sure. You can see how the lake has burst its banks. But yes, in the floodplains you get a lot of these guys. This is a willow. Willow love the water. They dominate in areas where water regularly makes incursions. You also have some rowan, more mountain ash. They're quite tolerant as well. But here, of the two native species of heather we have in the UK, this is bell heather. Bell heather is the more water tolerant compared to the common heather, also known as Colluna vulgaris, whereas this is of the Erica genus. Cool. Okay, so apparently I haven't even started, but I think this is the shorter trail, which I'll unfortunately have to take just because I have a call that I need to make in about 3 hours time. So I'm gonna make sure I have plenty of time to get back to an area where there's a good signal. But yeah, let's have some fun. Okay, 5 things I can see. I can see a young oak. I can see more mountain ash. I can see bracken. birch, and the dandelion thing. I can touch. This looks to be a... Ooh, can I lift you up? Neat. I touched that. I can touch a bunch of things, and there's definitely over 4 species here. 3 things I can hear. My own voice! The rain, and a little bit of the wind. 2 things I can smell. Petrichor and my BO. 1 thing I can taste. Chocolate from when I previously had my dinner. Right. Oh, that is... God, that makes my face look weird. 1 sec. One unfortunate thing about improved landscapes, these are the areas where historically farmers and other landowners have put more nutrition into the soil for farming, logging, so on and so forth. Ooh, lovely, lovely, upside down. So the soil sits closer to the top, so trees don't really have to work to get at the nutrition, so their roots are a lot more shallow than they naturally would be. So shallow roots, what's an issue we can foresee with that? They don't anchor the tree to the soil, to the ground, very pretty bell heather, as well as they should. So the next time there's extremely high winds, they're not as resilient, which is a massive shame. So in a lot of the forests that are growing in improved land, this can be a problem for the foreseeable future. But I still think it's best to let nature do its thing. That's pretty cool. I love it. Now, a lot of the time in the uplands where there are a lot of forestries and heavy sheep grazing, most of the native vegetation tends to survive on the edges of places like this. So next time you're in the uplands in Scotland, Northern England, Wales, look to the edges of waterways and you might see the most of the native diversity of plants. A good example of what happens when you just have plantation trees, like non-native pine trees in an area. You get a much lower amount of biodiversity in an area. So you do have a few ferns, you still have some mosses, and you have the big trees themselves. But that's it. That's all you really have. And you can see they've been laid out in a very abiotic fashion, like just not natural. They haven't planted themselves. Whereas back there, it's a lot denser. You have more living things in a space. But unfortunately, most of forestry England, forests are like this. Another cool waterfall, baby! Look at that! Agua! Pretty neat. Now over there you can see bracken, which it's not a massive fan of being flooded. And you can see all these trees on this slightly raised bit of ground. This is in itself a little bit of a floodplain, right on the edge of the lake. I would reckon that maybe in the high summer when there's less, stupid bramble, there's less rain, you might be able to walk over there. But for right now, the water flows very heavy. Of course I could be wrong, I often am. So I've just finished speaking to a member of staff who works here. Really nice bloke, really nice bloke. Asked him about beavers, said unfortunately they don't have any yet. No wild releases have been allowed by DEFRA. bloody DEFRA drag the heels with anything good for nature, but for farmers, they're pretty quick. Whilst I'm talking, look at that. Look at the water running over that, that's pretty cool. So it was really nice to speak to him because he told me about the plans for the future of here, and they are planning to do a lot more for nature, like reintroducing around 300 water bowls from Derek Gow apparently. Very cool. And an introduction of wood ants, which are a keystone species. I didn't know that. I used to see them quite frequently where I live. I'm pretty sure they were wood ants. Long-bodied, with a stinger, though I could be wrong. All the pictures I've seen of hairy wood ants seem similar to what stung me back in the day. But one thing struck me. They want to put beavers here, but obviously Natural England and DEFRA drag the heels. But that seems to be it. They do plant aspen, which is very good, another great species to have, which hopefully we'll see in a sec. But a lot of these big places seem to be very... what's the word I'm looking for? There doesn't seem to be any ambition beyond that. They have some really interesting species, like otters. One sec. This is really neat. Over here. Over here. See this? These bryophytes. Got moss. Got ferns growing on an oak. Twisted and gnawed with age. It's gorgeous. The sign of Atlantic woodland. Atlantic rainforest. Hey, I think I've finally got my brain in order, my thoughts together. So, there seems to be ambition from the workers on the ground. A lot of eagerness to reintroduce species from them. But the higher ups seem to be less so. They want to make sure the relations aren't muddled with locals that might be against it. The small minority that might be against certain ideas like beavers, pine martens, and of course the big boy, the wolves. But the forestry worker I was speaking to, when I said, oh, my thing's controversial, I want to reintroduce wolves, he said, why not? It's great. That'd be fantastic. So yeah, he said it was a great idea. And a lot of people who work in this industry who understand ecology are very for the reintroduction of species like wolves. It's only a small minority of people, certain landowners and farmers, they're actually against their reintroduction because they understand how this system works. He said, unfortunately, every year they have to cull deer, a decent number of them, to keep them from eating the forest and getting rid of the freshly planted trees, like the aspen, which they're trying to reconnect to old woodland. Goodness gracious! But if there were wolves at healthy numbers here, that wouldn't really be an issue. Found it. The little glade of aspen. Aspen are a fantastic organism. In fact, Pando, the largest organism in the world, is a colonial organism which is made up of American aspen. This is its European counterpart. And a lot of these trees are connected and are clones of one another. Right now it's quite flooded, but again there are species that are quite tolerant to flooding and water, and happen to be one of the beavers' favourite foods. It's excellent to see the work they're doing here. So there is work being done. Apparently when they were doing a tour around here at one point, not 5 meters away from where he was giving his talk, there were some otters just playing with each other. I doubt I'm going to see that today since the water's so turbulent. But still, great to see. Ah, look at that. Look at all that ragwort in amongst there. I think there's also some gorse, maybe? You can see some of the bell heather, the blue, purpley violet thing. Neat, very, very neat. You can see where they're setting up some more places to grow the aspen, because I've just noticed something around here. Obviously we know there's deer that visit here, but over there's 2 bloody sheep. Whose sheep are those? Is this a farmer's field? I thought this was forestry land. I guess they can commingle, but there's 2 bloody herdwicks over there. Get ye gone, ye bastards! Whoa, that. Oh, that. Over the river there. How am I supposed to get across? The roots are up the door. How am I supposed to get to the side? Yeah. I can't wait to cross this road. It's going to be so much. So you're finally awake. That's not where I needed to go. Here, guys, we got a little stowaway. Now this, I don't know what species this is, and I don't know if it's gonna give me a rash by touching it, but this is a caterpillar who has spikes that will no doubt be very distasteful if a predator tries to eat them. I'm gonna pop them somewhere safe. Up that way. Here seems nice enough. Enjoy, little one. I don't know what your food plant is. Where'd he go? Oh good, he's on a little branch down there, right above the water. There's a stream going through there. Oh, that was lucky. That's a wildlife. Do you see it? Enhance. A wildlife. That's the first wildlife I've seen today. Unless you count the trees. Well, if you pooed in there, no one would ever find it. No matter how much fiber you ate. I mean, that's alright. Overrated as hell, but that's alright.